Have you ever wondered how a land so small could be the epicenter of so many world events? Today we delve into the intricate tapestry that is the history of Israel and Palestine, a tale woven with threads of conquests, faith, and geopolitics. A narrative that has shaped the destiny of millions, echoing through the corridors of time. A story that is as complex as it is significant, unraveling layer upon layer of human drama. Dive with us into the annals of history as we unravel the past of this disputed land. To understand the present, we must first explore the past. The land we now know as Israel and Palestine has a rich and complex history. Long before contemporary disputes, this region was home to a tapestry of diverse civilizations, each leaving their indelible mark. Let's journey back in time to the era of the Canaanites, the first known inhabitants of this land. These Bronze Age people established city-states throughout the region, forming a cultural melting pot that thrived for several centuries. But change was on the horizon. Around 3,000 years ago, a group known as the Israelites emerged. Their story is deeply intertwined with the religious narratives of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. According to biblical accounts, the Israelites, led by figures like Joshua and King David, established control over much of Canaan, forging what would come to be known as the Kingdom of Israel. This kingdom was not to last, however. Following the death of King Solomon, the kingdom split into two, Israel in the north and Judah in the south. These two entities had their own unique trajectories, with Israel eventually succumbing to the Assyrian Empire and Judah falling to the Babylonians. Fast forward a few centuries and we see the region under the rule of various empires, from Persians and Greeks to Romans and Byzantines. Each conqueror brought new cultural influences, but the memory of the ancient kingdom of Israel and Judah remained, particularly among the Jewish diaspora. These ancient times may seem far removed from today's conflicts, but they laid the groundwork for the religious and cultural identity of the region. The name Israel itself harks back to these early days, a testament to the enduring legacy of the past. It's a past filled with stories of power, faith, and change, encapsulating the rise and fall of kingdoms, the spread of religions, and the constant ebb and flow of different peoples. The region's ancient history set the stage for centuries of conquest and conflict. But to truly grasp the intricacies of the Israel-Palestine issue, we must delve into the more recent past, a story that begins with the waves of change that swept across the globe in the late 19th century. The land under discussion has seen many rulers. From the ancient Canaanites to the modern Israelis and Palestinians, this small piece of earth has been a stage for the rise and fall of empires and civilizations. As we step into the era of conquest and rule, we find the Roman Empire's imposing footprint. The Romans, known for their might and expansive reach, took control of the region in the 1st century BCE, marking the start of a turbulent period. The Jewish rebellions against the Roman rule are well documented, with the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem being a particularly poignant event that left deep scars on the Jewish psyche. Following the fall of the Roman Empire, the region fell under the control of the Byzantine Empire, the Roman Empire's eastern continuation. The Byzantine rule, lasting from the 4th to the 7th century CE, left an indelible mark with its unique blend of Greco-Roman and Christian influences. Then came the Islamic caliphates. The Islamic conquest in the 7th century brought a significant cultural shift. Arabic became the lingua franca, and Islam became the dominant religion, shaping the region's social and cultural fabric. Over the centuries, the region saw a series of rulers, including the Crusaders, the Ayyubids, the Mamluks, and finally the Ottomans. Each brought their unique influence, adding layers of complexity to the region's identity. The Ottoman Empire, ruling from the early 16th century until the end of World War I, was the last of the great empires to hold sway over the land. With the empire's fall, the region came under British mandate, setting the stage for the next chapter in this compelling history. Through the ebb and flow of empires, the region's identity continued to evolve. Each ruler left their imprint, shaping the land's character, influencing its culture, and playing a part in the intricate tapestry that makes up the history of Israel and Palestine. The echoes of these past empires are still felt today, a testament to the enduring power of history. The 19th century witnessed a revolutionary movement that would change the region forever. The movement was Zionism, a nationalist and political movement of Jews and Jewish culture that supports the re-establishment of a Jewish homeland in the territory defined as the historic land of Israel. Zionism emerged in the late 19th century in Central and Eastern Europe as a national revival movement, in reaction to anti-Semitic and exclusionary nationalist movements in Europe. Theodor Herzl, a Viennese journalist and playwright, is recognized as the father of political Zionism. Herzl's vision was that the Jewish people should have a state of their own, and in 1896 he published a pamphlet, The Jewish State, where he declared that the remedy for anti-Semitism was the establishment of a Jewish state. The movement gained significant momentum during the early 20th century. This was largely due to the Balfour Declaration of 1917, a letter from the British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour to Lord Rothschild, a leader of the British Jewish community. The letter expressed Britain's support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. However, it was also stated that this should not prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities. Following the end of World War I, Britain took over Palestine under a League of Nations mandate. The mandate was to administer Palestine on behalf of the League of Nations with the objective of establishing the Jewish national home. The British Mandate of Palestine, which was in effect from 1920 to 1948, was a critical period in the history of the region. It saw increased Jewish immigration, tension between Jewish and Arab communities, and conflicting promises made by the British to both Jews and Arabs. The Zionist movement and the subsequent British Mandate of Palestine set the stage for the establishment of the modern state of Israel. But they also laid the groundwork for a century of conflict. As we delve into the establishment of Israel in the next scene, it is crucial to remember that the seeds of modern conflict were sown during this period. Post-World War II, the world map was about to change. The horrors of the Holocaust had left 6 million Jews dead, and the surviving Jewish population, scattered across Europe, was in dire need of a safe haven. This was the moment when the Zionist movement, which had been advocating for a Jewish homeland in Palestine since the late 19th century, gained substantial international support. The United Nations, newly established and eager to prevent further atrocities, proposed a partition plan in 1947. According to this plan, Palestine was to be divided into 2 independent states, one Jewish and one Arab, with Jerusalem under international administration. This proposal was met with mixed reactions. Jewish leaders accepted it, seeing an opportunity to establish a Jewish state. However, Arab leaders, who considered Palestine as their land, rejected the plan. Despite the objections, the United Nations General Assembly passed the resolution with a 2/3 majority. This led to a surge in violence between Arab and Jewish communities within Palestine, known as the Civil War of 1947 to 1948. This civil unrest paved the way for the Arab-Israeli War, also known as the War of Independence to Israelis and the Nakba, or catastrophe, to the Palestinians. The war witnessed the neighboring Arab nations of Egypt, Jordan, Iraq and Syria launching a military intervention in Palestine in response to the declaration of the State of Israel on May 14, 1948. The war ended in 1949 with Israel's victory. The newly established state expanded its territories beyond the UN partition plan, leaving hundreds of thousands of Palestinians displaced. This displacement marked the beginning of the Palestinian refugee crisis, a key issue in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that continues to this day. In 1948, amidst turmoil and tension, the State of Israel was born. Its establishment marked a turning point in the history of the Jewish people, but also sparked a conflict that has shaped the Middle East for over 7 decades and is still unresolved. The birth of a nation was accompanied by the birth of a conflict. Israel's establishment was immediately met with resistance, leading to a series of wars and conflicts that have left deep scars on the region. The Six-Day War in 1967 was a pivotal event. Israel, feeling threatened by the neighboring Arab states, launched a preemptive strike against Egypt. This led to a rapid succession of victories, resulting in Israel's control over the Sinai Peninsula, the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Golan Heights. These territorial gains, however, have only deepened the conflict. In 1973, on the Jewish holy day of Yom Kippur, Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack on Israel. The Yom Kippur War was a test of Israel's resilience and a significant turning point in the region's history. It ended with a ceasefire, but not before shifting the dynamics of power and paving the way for a new phase of peace negotiations. The late 20th century saw the rise of the First and Second Intifada, Palestinian uprisings against Israeli occupation. The First Intifada, beginning in 1987, was marked by civil disobedience, protests, and boycotts. The Second Intifada, starting in 2000, was more violent, with suicide attacks and military operations causing a high death toll on both sides. These conflicts, and many others, have shaped the Israeli-Palestinian narrative, each leaving its imprint on the struggle for peace. They are not just about territory, but also about identity, survival, and the right to self-determination. The history of Israel and Palestine is complex, fraught with pain, and marked by moments of hope. It is a history that continues to unfold, with each new day bringing its own challenges. The struggle for peace and territory has marked the region's recent history. Today, the conflict continues, but so do efforts for peace. The current landscape of the Israel-Palestine situation is complex and multifaceted. The status of Jerusalem, a city of immense historical and religious significance, remains a contentious point. Both Israel and Palestine claim it as their capital, yet the international community largely recognizes it as a corpus separatum, an entity under international administration. The issue of settlements further complicates matters. Israeli settlements in the West Bank, considered illegal by most of the international community, are viewed by Israel as legitimate extensions of their sovereignty. These settlements are a source of tension, often leading to clashes and exacerbating animosity. Despite the ongoing conflict, numerous attempts have been made to broker peace. Over the past few decades, many peace processes and agreements have been proposed and pursued. The most notable among these is the Oslo Accords of the 1990s, a set of agreements aimed at achieving a peace treaty based on the United Nations Security Council Resolutions 242 and 338, and at fulfilling the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination. In recent years, there have been significant developments. Several Arab nations have normalized relations with Israel under the Abraham Accords, a move seen by some as a step towards regional peace. However, critics argue that these agreements sideline the Palestinian cause and fail to address the root issues of the conflict. The situation is further complicated by the internal divisions within both Israeli and Palestinian societies. Political, religious, and social divides often hamper efforts to reach a consensus on the path to peace. The road to a peaceful resolution is fraught with challenges. Yet, the international community, regional powers, and many within Israel and Palestine continue to strive for a just and lasting peace. The stakes are high. The lives of millions hang in the balance, and the ripple effects of this conflict reach far beyond the borders of these two lands. The quest for a peaceful resolution remains a global concern. So, what did we learn from our journey through the ages? The narrative of Israel and Palestine is a complex tapestry, woven with threads of historical events, cultural identities, and political ideologies. It's a story that's been told and retold, from different perspectives and with differing nuances. Our expedition started with a look at the ancient history of the region. We discovered the early civilizations that inhabited this land, each leaving their own indelible mark on the landscape and its people. From the Canaanites, the original dwellers, to the Hebrews who established the Kingdom of Israel, and the various empires that conquered the territory subsequently, each era added a new layer to the historical complexity of the region. We then delved into the period of conquest and rule, a time marked by the rise and fall of powerful empires. The region became a strategic chessboard for the Roman, Byzantine, Arab, Crusader, Ottoman, and British empires, each leaving a distinct imprint on its cultural, religious, and political fabric. The emergence of the Zionist movement in the late 19th century marked a significant turning point in the narrative. The vision of establishing a Jewish homeland in Palestine, fueled by the plight of Jews in Europe, led to significant Jewish immigration to the region. This period was characterized by the clashing aspirations of the Jewish immigrants and the Arab Palestinians, setting the stage for the conflicts that would follow. The establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 was a watershed moment. This decision by the United Nations, taken against the backdrop of the horrors of the Holocaust, was seen as a triumph for the Zionist cause. However, for the Palestinians, it marked the beginning of the Nakba, or catastrophe, as hundreds of thousands were displaced from their homes. The subsequent period has been marked by a series of conflicts and wars as both Israelis and Palestinians have fought for their rights, their land, and their identity. These conflicts, often fueled by external influences and geopolitical interests, have only added to the complexity of the issue. Most recently, we examined the current situation and the ongoing peace efforts. Despite numerous initiatives, a lasting resolution remains elusive. Yet the pursuit of peace continues, as does the hope for a future where both Israelis and Palestinians can live side by side in harmony and mutual respect. As we look towards the future, understanding the past is our key to deciphering the complex narrative of Israel and Palestine. It's a narrative that requires empathy, patience, and a willingness to listen and learn. Only then can we hope to contribute to a dialogue that transcends the divisions and builds bridges towards a peaceful coexistence. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button below and subscribe for more videos like this one.